What if I told you that every person you meet is constantly giving away clues, tiny tells, that reveal their true thoughts, emotions, and intentions, even if they don't say a word? Every handshake, every glance, every subtle pause in a conversation, they all tell a story. And if you know how to spot the signals, you can uncover the truth hidden beneath the surface. Sound powerful, right? Well, that's exactly what today's audiobook is about. The Tell by Amy Griffin. Introduction. The Tell is a fascinating guide that dives deep into the hidden world of nonverbal communication. Amy Griffin, a renowned expert in behavioral analysis, lays out practical tools and insights to help anyone, whether you're in business, relationships, or everyday life, interpret the subconscious signals people are constantly sending. Why is this book worth summarizing? Because in a world where words can be polished, scripted, or outright deceptive, body language often tells the real story. Understanding these tells can make you more persuasive, empathetic, and even protect you from manipulation. Let's dive in and unpack the key insights from the Tell. 1. The science of the Tell, why body language matters. Griffin starts by explaining that nonverbal communication isn't just a nice-to-have skill, it's how humans survived. Long before we developed spoken language, our ancestors relied on body signals to communicate danger, trustworthiness, and intentions. Even today, about 60 to 90% of communication is nonverbal. Key point: words can lie. Body language often can't. Learning to read these signals makes you more attuned to what's really going on beneath the surface. Simple example. Imagine someone saying, "I'm fine," but their arms are crossed tightly, their shoulders hunched, and they avoid eye contact. Clearly, they're not fine. That's the power of recognizing a tell. 2. Baseline behavior, the foundation of reading others. One of Griffin's biggest lessons is this: always establish a baseline first. What's a baseline? It's the person's normal, relaxed behavior when they aren't feeling pressured. Why it matters? You can't spot deviations, and therefore lies, nervousness, or discomfort without knowing what normal looks like for them. Tips to establish a baseline. Observe someone when they're relaxed or engaged in a casual conversation. Notice their gestures, eye contact, tone of voice, and posture. Then when something changes, fidgeting, voice cracking, sudden stillness, it could be a tell. Simple example. Your coworker normally taps their foot lightly while chatting, but during a meeting about deadlines, they suddenly freeze, sitting unnaturally still. That freeze could indicate stress, guilt, or fear. Something's up. 3. Clusters, not single signals. How to avoid false reads. Another essential principle: never judge based on one single signal. Look for clusters. A cluster is when two or more tells happen together. Why it matters? A single gesture could mean nothing. Maybe someone crosses their arms because they're cold, not defensive. But when multiple signals point in the same direction, the likelihood of accurate interpretation skyrockets. Common clusters: crossed arms plus avoiding eye contact plus tight-lipped smile equals defensiveness or discomfort. Leaning forward plus open palms plus nodding equals engagement and agreement. Simple example. If someone scratches their nose once, it's probably just an itch. If they scratch their nose and avoid eye contact and stammer while answering a question, maybe they're lying. 4. Tells of deception, spotting lies before they're spoken. One of the most fascinating chapters is about detecting deception. Griffin outlines common tells that often accompany lying. Incongruent expressions, smiling but with fearful eyes. Micro-expressions, fleeting emotions that flash across the face involuntarily. Delayed responses, taking extra time to fabricate an answer. Excessive grooming, smoothing hair, adjusting clothing, covering the mouth, or touching the face. Important note, no single tell means someone is definitely lying. Context, baselines, and clusters are critical. Simple example. During a job interview, if the candidate pauses a long time before answering simple questions and keeps adjusting their tie while avoiding eye contact, you might want to dig deeper. 5. Tells of trust. How to know if someone's being genuine. On the flip side, Griffin highlights signs of authenticity and trustworthiness. Open body language, uncrossed arms and legs. Consistent eye contact without staring. Relaxed facial muscles. Genuine smiles, crow's feet around the eyes. Aligned verbal and nonverbal cues. Simple example. When someone is excited about sharing good news, their words, tone, eyes, and body energy all align naturally. If any of those feel off, it's worth noting. 6. Environmental tells. How surroundings influence behavior. Griffin also stresses that behavior doesn't happen in a vacuum. The environment shapes people's tells too. Key points. People act differently based on lighting, crowd size, temperature, or status dynamics. A normally confident person might fidget in a cold, sterile boardroom. Simple example. At a loud networking event, someone shouting or leaning in close isn't necessarily aggressive. They're adapting to the noisy environment. The takeaway? Always factor in environmental context before interpreting tells. 7. Self-awareness. Managing your own tells. Another hidden gem in the book is the importance of managing your own nonverbal communication. You're not just reading others, they're reading you too. Griffin offers strategies to project authenticity and confidence. Maintain an open posture. Smile genuinely, not forced. Practice power poses before high-stress situations. Breathe deeply to steady your voice and body. Simple example. Before a big presentation, standing tall with shoulders back and arms relaxed, even in private, can rewire your brain to feel more confident, which naturally comes across to your audience. 8. Cultural awareness. Tells aren't universal. This is critical and often overlooked. Griffin reminds readers that different cultures have different norms for eye contact, gestures, personal space, and emotional expressions. Misreading tells across cultures can lead to major misunderstandings. Simple example. In some cultures, avoiding eye contact is a sign of respect, not deception. Knowing this prevents unfair assumptions. Bottom line, always interpret tells through a culturally aware lens. 9. Everyday applications. Negotiation, relationships, and beyond. Griffin closes with real-world ways to apply tell reading skills. In negotiations, spot when someone is bluffing or uncertain. In relationships, recognize when your partner feels hurt or withdrawn, even if they don't say it. In leadership, read your team's morale beyond their words. Simple example. In a sales meeting, if a client says sounds good, but their body leans away and they don't make eye contact, they probably aren't sold yet. Time to address hidden objections. Conclusion. The Tell by Amy Griffin isn't just about spotting liars. It's about truly understanding people at a deeper, almost intuitive level. Imagine walking into any room, a meeting, a date, a negotiation, and picking up on all the unspoken conversations happening around you. How much more powerful, empathetic, and confident would you be? That's the gift this book offers. If you found these insights eye-opening, trust me, you'll love the full experience of reading the Tell. There's so much more packed into Amy Griffin's work. Real-world case studies, exercises to sharpen your skills, and bonus tips on becoming a master communicator. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss another AudioBookCAPS summary. Leave a comment. Which nonverbal tell are you most excited to spot in real life? And if you enjoyed this breakdown, give this video a like. It really helps our community grow. Thanks for tuning in. Now go out there and start reading between the lines.